Sometimes, the quietest journeys hide the most dangerous secrets. And for Akin, this train ride to Ibadan was supposed to be the start of a relaxing holiday. But as the tracks rolled underfoot and the sun dipped low, everything would change. What began as an innocent escape would soon spiral into a nightmare. It was supposed to be a simple trip, just Akin, his friends, and the open road ahead as the train chugged its way through the heart of Nigeria. A few days of peace and adventure. They settled into their seats, chatting excitedly, unaware that their journey was about to take a dark turn. As the train sped along the tracks, Akin gazed out of the window, his thoughts drifting. The excitement of the holiday ahead was so close he could almost taste it. But somewhere in the midst of that carefree atmosphere, danger was lurking, silent, but deadly. A man stepped into their compartment. He was tall, his face hidden under the brim of a worn-out hat, his clothes plain but carefully chosen, just enough to blend in. He nodded at the group, his eyes scanning the room before settling on Akin. Something about him was off, but at first, Akin couldn't put his finger on it. As the man approached, Akin noticed a strange tension in the air. The others were still talking, unaware of the shadow that had fallen over them. But Akin couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen. It was like a warning from deep within. Then, in an instant, everything changed. The man lunged at Akin, grabbing him with a grip so tight it felt like iron. The noise of the train, the chatter of his friends, everything blurred out of focus as Akin found himself pulled toward the door. Fear surged through him, heart racing, as the world outside seemed to grow darker. With a forceful shove, the man pushed Akin into the narrow hallway between compartments. Before he could even process what was happening, the door slammed shut behind him, trapping him in a world of confusion and fear. Akin fought to catch his breath, trying to make sense of the situation. His mind raced, adrenaline pumping through his veins. What was going on? Who was this man? And why was he being dragged into this nightmare? The man's voice was low, gravelly, almost a whisper, but every word felt like a dagger. You're not just any passenger, Akin. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And now you're mine. His words echoed in Akin's ears, the truth of them sinking in slowly. This wasn't a random attack. This wasn't a robbery. No, this was something far darker. Akin was now tangled in the web of criminals, and there was no easy way out. His captor led him down the narrow, dimly lit passage of the train, his steps heavy and calculated. Every twist and turn felt like it was leading deeper into an abyss. Akin's mind spun, trying to formulate a plan. He had to stay calm. He had to think. But the world around him felt like it was closing in. And then, in the midst of the chaos, Akin saw them. Faces in the shadows. Cold, calculating eyes watching him. It was like stepping into a nightmare, a world he didn't know existed, where lawlessness and danger ruled every corner. These weren't just criminals. These were the kind of people who lived in the dark spaces where the light of justice never reached. They took him into a compartment at the far end of the train. Inside, the air was thick with smoke and the sharp scent of alcohol. The criminals were all around him now, surrounding him, sizing him up. A group of hardened faces, men and women who had clearly seen the worst the world had to offer. One man, much older than the rest, stepped forward. His voice was deep, commanding. "This isn't your fight, kid. You got caught up in something way bigger than you. But you've got two choices, join us, or, well, let's just say the train ride can end a lot quicker for you than you'd like." The man's words hit Akin like a punch to the gut. Join them? Was he really being offered that? Or was it just another threat in a world where life had no value? But something inside Akin snapped. This wasn't his life. He wasn't going to let these criminals define his fate. He had to act fast. His mind raced as he searched for an opening, any way out of this nightmare. Every second counted. He couldn't stay here. He wouldn't. He began to think of his friends, his family, and everything he had to lose. That thought gave him the strength to make his move. In a flash, Akin made his move. He shoved the closest criminal aside, sprinting for the door. He heard them shout after him, the sound of footsteps chasing, but his legs carried him faster. He wasn't going to let them catch him. Not now. His heart pounded in his chest as he raced through the train, desperate for escape. He could hear the thumping of his pursuers behind him, getting closer, but he wouldn't stop. Not until he found a way to break free from their grip. Then, just as all seemed lost, Akin saw at a window, small but just big enough. He leapt toward it, adrenaline surging, and with one last desperate push, he slipped through, crashing into the wild, open air. Akin wasn't free yet, but as he clung to the edge, feeling the wind whip past him, something inside him knew he had won. He had made it out. It wasn't over. The nightmare wasn't over. But Akin had learned one thing, that no matter how dark the world seemed, he could always find a way out. He had been through hell, but he'd come out the other side stronger, wiser. Sometimes, the scariest places we can find ourselves in are not the ones we choose, but the ones we're forced into. But with determination, wit, and courage, even the most terrifying journeys can lead us back to the light. Akin's journey had come to an end. He had escaped the criminal underworld and found freedom. And with that, he knew that no matter what came next, he would always find a way to survive. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more thrilling tales like it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Your support keeps the adventure alive, and there's so much more to come.